Good morning, class. We are in lesson 8. Today is July the 21st, the year of 2024. Topic of today's lesson is Deliverance of the Jews. Today's aim, the facts, is to show that God used Esther to perform the life of his people. The principle, to illustrate that celebration in the Christian life comes when we have made sacrifices. And the application is to proud believers to celebrate victory in Christ. Celebration and respect, that's all that we're really discussing this morning. Celebration and respect. Good morning. It's been a long time since I've seen you. How have you been? I almost didn't recognize who you was.
All right.
Oh, good God. We are in dealing with respect, and we are in Esther. Now, previously we've been talking about how Haman was trying to kill off all the Jews. So what ended up happening from the beginning was Mordecai took his cousin, which was Hadassah, in other words, Esther, and she became the queen after she had won what some would say a beauty contest. So she won and became the queen. And that was because Queen Vashti was disposed of because she didn't want to obey the king. I understand that you're probably thinking that maybe, she was the queen, so she had a lot of power. She didn't really have to do anything, because if you was thinking about the situation that was going on, the king had a party going on himself, and Queen Vashti had a party going on for herself, with the women. So he had a party with the men, he had a party with the women, and all this was going on at the same time. But see, y'all know how us men can get sometimes when we allow the alcohol to take a toll in us. So what ended up happening was he got a bit drunk in state, so he got proud, and he wanted all the men to see how beautiful his woman was, so he sent for her, and she wouldn't come. Now I'm saying she wouldn't come because she had something going on herself, so no, she wasn't going to just leave her people. But just like I said before, it couldn't have been the women in today's days, because they ain't listening to nobody like that. Now, no, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing just because you asked me to come. No, I'll come when I get ready. I'll come when I have time. But he didn't want that. He didn't deal with that. He wanted her right now. And because she didn't come, he found ways to dispose of her. He started talking to a lot of the other men around, and and they was telling them, if she does that to you, then that's going to give the women all around the same rights to do the same thing to all the other men. So all the other men around here will not be the man of the house. And they wanted the men to be the rulers. Y'all know how I feel about men being the rulers. I don't believe in that. I believe that men and women are equal. And I believe that men are the heads of the house. But as far as when it comes to ruling, I disagree, because God pulled woman from the side of man, meaning we are equal, not we're above. So he felt like if we let her go, then all women would act the same way and treat their men the same. So he disposed of her, and that's when we got Queen Esther. And Queen Esther was a Jew, but her name Hadassah had to be hidden. And that was what was keeping her hidden as a Jew. So Mordecai was telling her, don't let anybody know that you are a Jew. So he kept that name Hadassah hidden, and she went by the name Esther. Now, this dude Haman, he was an Agagite, which should have been killed off a long time ago when it came to Saul. Saul was told to kill off all the Amalekites, and King Agag was the king at the time, which that's where we get the Agagites from. And Saul did not kill them all. Actually, he wanted to take King Agag back as prisoner. And Samuel got upset. Samuel was the one that ended up killing Agag. And the question is out there. So if Samuel killed Agag, then where's the Amalekites coming in? Where are the Agagites coming in? how Haman exists in these days, because he is a descendant of King Agag. Well, all of them wasn't killed. Some got away. Some was disposed of and some wasn't, because there were things that were being done back in those days that was just against God. God says, I want you to kill them all, and they don't. God says, I don't want you to take anything, and they do. So there are certain things that was done that wasn't supposed to have been done. So these kindred of King Agag was still in existence. So in this lesson here, you find that the things that God asked for, whether he get it from you, he's going to get what he asks. Because King Saul was the one that was supposed to have killed the Agagites back then. And we find in these verses here is when the last of those actually dies out. We find that all of Haman's brothers actually end up getting killed later. Well, actually, you're not going to find it in this lesson. It would have been if you would have read in the in-between scriptures. You'd have saw who all died. But up before we get to this lesson here, Esther went into mourning. She went into fasting. So she had them fast for 3 days because they was running through some problems. Haman wanted them all killed, and he done had the king sign the decree, and the thing about this decree, it was non-refundable. Once the king put a seal on it, that's a done deal. So they find out that Haman was trying to kill Mordecai, and it's a funny story how it happens. It's because Esther, she's getting riled up, getting ready to tell the story to the king about what Haman is planning. So before she does that, she got to draw him in. So she don't want Haman to be on guard. She want him to be comfortable so that he goes along with everything that she says. So she invites the king and Haman to a party that she's throwing for them. So now before all of this, Haman is talking to his people because he done walked out of this place and he noticed Mordecai sitting at the gate. He said, golly, there go this dude again. God, I'm ready for him to go. If I can just get rid of him, then this promotion that I just got, it will make a whole lot of sense to me. But I can't deal with this promotion if this dude's still sitting here. So I got to think of something to get rid of him. So he goes home and he's talked to his people. And it's a funny thing about your friends. They can talk to you into a lot of problems. I can tell you that. They done talked this man into misery. So he went back talking to him, and he's saying, you know what, I got this new promotion, and the queen done invited me to sit at feast with her and the king. So, there's some good things going on right now, but it's this dude that's still there. I got to get rid of this dude. And they tell him, they says, you know what, how about make a post 75 feet and impale him on it? And he says, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. Not knowing that he's creating the same thing that's going to kill him. He says, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. But I got to let the king know that this is what's going to happen. But see, the problem with the king was, the king had insomnia. So the king was more like, I can't sleep. So how about somebody read a story to me? And the story that he wanted read was all of the achievements and accomplishments that he had in his past. So when he started going back over this and he read on Mordecai, how Mordecai saved his life, he thought about it. He said, you know what? Did I ever repay this dude for doing this? And he said, no, you never gave him anything for saving your life. He says, well, something has to be done. And who's that at the door? Haman. Because Haman is coming to tell the king he wants Mordecai impaled on this pole that he done did. But before he could say anything, the king says, what gift can I give the best man that has ever done nothing but good for me? So Haman thinking, well, I just got this promotion. There's nobody else greater under the king but me. So he's got to be talking about me. So I'm going to tell him everything that I would like. So he done told the king, he says, look, I think that what would be fit is for you to give him the king's robe and let him ride on one of the king's horses, with the emblem on his head, and parade him around town. Show him that the king is approving of this man. That's what I think you need to do. And what hit him? That's it. That's what I'm going to do. How about you go and get Mordecai and do just that to him? Now, the same dude, this dude that he wanted to tell the king to kill, is who the king want him to bless. Oh, my goodness. It's funny how things happen like that. And that's how the world is. That's how the world happens. Just when you think that there's a problem in life, that problem is not a problem. The only problem there was and has ever been was you. You has always been the problem the whole time, but nobody wants to ever admit that. Everybody wants to look around and see how this is a bad situation, that's a bad situation. Those people across town ain't nothing but bad. Them people over there ain't nothing but bad. But have you ever noticed that every time it's you that shows up, it's when these bad things occurs? So he ended up giving Mordecai the dream that he's always wanted. Paraded him around and did all these things, and then he went back home and told his wife and his brothers and all of them, he says, you know what, I feel bad. Everything that I wanted, it done just went into the drain. That one guy that I wanted to kill, I ended up blessing with gifts of royalty per the king. The king told me to do all this. Now how can I live with this? How can I sit well with this? And they told him, they said, you know what, you can't. You just got to deal with it now. So he's trying to work this thing out to see how he's going to always have hatred. That's one thing that he's never going to get rid of, because he was brought up with this hatred. He had no idea where it came from, but it's there. So on this particular night, the queen sent for his people to come and pick him up to take him to this banquet that Queen Esther had set up for him. So he goes to this banquet, and this is when Esther tells the king that she's a Jew. She says, you know what, there's a decree that you wrote, and there's certain things that's going on, and I can't stand to sit around and watch my people be destroyed. All of my kindred is gonna get killed because of somebody that you trust. And he's like, well, who might do a thing like that that's going to destroy your people? He said, let me know. He said, it is Haman. Haman wants to kill my people. So as a matter of fact, Haman is trying to kill us now. He's trying to kill Mordecai. The king couldn't believe it. So the king walks out the room. And, it's funny how certain things look like it's a situation, but it really isn't a situation. It's just how certain eyes captures it. We all can look at the same thing, but we all look and see something totally different. So now Queen Esther, she's laid back in her little chair, just chilling, because she done said what was on her mind to say, and she know that it done touched the king deeply. So the king walks out, and Haman is sitting in there. Haman is like, oh, please, no, don't do this to me. So while she's sitting there in the chair, he falls down. He said, no, don't do this. But the king walks in right when he does this. That's just the picture that showed up in my head when I was reading this. Wow. When I was reading this, the picture was like he was falling down like this, like, please don't do this. And King says, I know good and well he ain't trying to do this up in my house. Get him. Says, get him. And then they told him, they says, well, he was trying to impale Mordecai on that pole that he done got around the corner over there. That's what he wanted to kill Mordecai on. Well, take him over there and you impale him on it. So he's gone, just like that, because he overstepped his boundaries. That's one thing about having power and having a limit. Like police officers. I know people say, these police officers out there, they got all the power in the world. They arrest you just because they want to. No, they don't. They don't do that just because they want to. They can write up certain things because they want to see you in trouble, and they don't never get in trouble. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If a police officer break the law, he gonna get in the same trouble that you got into. I done went through and seen all the news of all these cops that done been arrested, released, put in prison, and done all these things to the same way that we would have. So it has nothing to do with that. It's about that one word that I said first, and that's respect. So, like, I'm just going to stop talking right there because, like I always been saying, I ain't even read the first scripture yet. And I done talked, I don't even know how long yet. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. First verse says, "And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had it devised against the Jews." All right. We starts off with respect. That's how we start. And anytime you go to somebody and you're asking them for a favor, if the first thing that you don't have when you're asking for this favor is respect, you might not get that favor. I know she's a queen, but there's a line that she still have. Just like in the Spry's household. I'm not trying to put y'all out there, but all I'm saying is in the Spry's household, Sister Spry can't do anything against Brother Spry without his approval. If she wants anything dealing with him and she thinks that she can go beyond him and just take it, she got another thing coming. That's my cousin. I love her dearly and I'll back her up to the end. But there's just certain things that she just don't do. No, you just don't overstep your boundaries. Yes, she is the wife. In other words, she's his queen. He's the king. If there's anything that she wants that he owns, she has to humble herself, talk to him, and see if she can get it. If he says no, it's just no. If he says yes, she just won that. Right. But that's how it works. So the queen had to humble herself to the king. Because as we just talked last week, the queen done went 30 days without even talking to the king. The king have to summon the queen if she want to have a conversation with her. If she want to talk to, in other words, her husband, he have to give her approval. It's time for you to talk now. Go ahead and say what's on your mind. But see, the thing about this was, Esther played this role the right way the whole time. Since she's gotten in this position, she has never been nothing but humble. She did everything that she was told to do. Whenever the king asked certain things, she did it. Whenever the king wanted certain things, she gave it. So she gave the king his respect. So in turn, as y'all have been reading through this, you saw how much favor the king had into Esther. Anything that Esther asked for, the king be like, you know what? Whatever you wish, ask and I will give it, even if it is half of my palace. Even if it is half of what I own. He's willing to give it to her. But it first started with respect. And she's talking about all the things that Haman put in play, which was that decree about killing all the Jews. Now, why did he want to kill all the Jews? Because one man stepped on his toes. In one way. So because one person didn't do what he felt he needed to get done, and in that respect term to him, he felt like it was respect for him to bow. But see, what he failed to realize is Mordecai had his own belief. And we can't take anybody else's beliefs from them. So Mordecai felt like he didn't need to bow because of what he believed. He believed that he shouldn't bow to no other God but God himself. And because of that, Haman wanted to kill him because he didn't give him any respect. It didn't bother anybody else but Haman. And because this one person bothered Haman, Haman made it seem like it was all the Jews. Just like us, one person in the church step on your toes, but all Christians are bad based on what one person did to you. All Christians, it's all of them. It's all of them. All of them getting on my nerve. All of them is bad. Ain't none of them godly. They're all up in there cussing and talking junk and doing this and doing that. But in fact, there wasn't but one person that stepped on your toes. So in order for Haman to get this done, he had to get them all. Haman said, you know what, I got to get them all. That's the only way that's going to look right. He got to look right to make it look like none of them respect the king. So he put in that decree. And that decree is what led him to this point here. Then the king held out his golden scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it pleased the king. See how she's still coming with that respect. Right. She says, if it pleases the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. Says, if it pleases the king. So she's still talking with respect. Look, if you don't mind, if it is okay with you, these are the things that you have to come. If you don't come with respect, don't expect to get it. If you want to ask me a question, if you want to borrow my truck, I know it ain't very much good, but it's good enough to me. But if you want to borrow my truck, you can't just come to me and say, give me the keys.
That's right.
Give me your car. I got to go someplace. I need to use your truck. No, you come to me with respect. If it's okay with you, do you mind if I use your truck? There's certain things I got to get done today. If you're not using it, if you're not busy. You see how she played this role just like that. So she came in with that respect factor. So whenever you're dealing, you have to have this respect. And Esther came forward with that respect before asking the king anything. Even though she's the queen, there's still a line that she couldn't cross. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Here she is again, telling them all who she is. See, I can't endure anything that's come unto my people, or can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? So who are you talking about here? You're talking about your people, your kindred. Who are we talking about? So now the king is like, you know what? I'm confused. I'm confused. What's going on here? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, the queen and Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. See, he's talking about all of the punishments that he was talking about doing to Mordecai. And when the king walked in the door, how he saw Haman look like he was about to do something to Esther. Just look like.
Yeah.
Look, I can tell y'all right now, anything going on in my house, you might not be like this, but anything dealing with my daughters, if you look like you're trying to hurt one of my girls, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm going to look like.
I'm going to look like I'm going to jail today.
Yeah.
And that's how the king felt about it. The king says it looked like he was trying to do something in his house. So he dealt with that right then. And that's how men are. We deal with things right then at the moment. If it looks like you're trying to hurt our family, or it looks like you might be a problem to our family later, we're going to deal with that now. We ain't going to wait until it get out of hand. We're going to deal with that now. It says, write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Now, he has already given Esther and Mordecai all the power they needed. He done gave Esther Haman's whole house. Everything that Haman done owned, he says, here, this is yours. You have it. You do with it whatever you please. And he done gave Mordecai his ring. He says, look, take that ring from Haman and you put it on. It's yours. So now you got all the power. So when they're telling him, they want him to reverse all the things that Haman done did. But see, by law, the things that was already written by the king in the decree, no man could reverse it. So the king gave them power to write a new decree that will save their lives. So in this decree, I know y'all ain't gonna see it in this because don't nobody like reading in between the lines. Everybody want to go back and read what's in the scriptures of this up to date. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what's going on here is they went and they thought of something. They said, okay, how can we override what's already put into play? All right, so what's put in play is on this 13th, 14th day, Haman done wrote into this decree that these people are going to go and kill all the Jews. So what are we going to do? We're going to defend ourselves. So he wrote into this decree, he says, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to arm everybody. I don't care how old you are. Look, babies get guns too. Here, there you go. Everybody get them. So we're going to stand outside the gates. Whoever show up against us, they got to go. If you ain't with us, then you're against us. That's how they felt. So if you was coming looking like, that thing again, you look like, if you look like you're trying to attack me, guess what? You gotta go. That's how they felt about this thing. So the first day, they done killed over 500 people. The next time they went out, they done killed 300 people total. They killed over 70,000, and not to mention half of the people that was against them in the beginning joined forces with them. They said, because y'all Jews are just too intimidating. I don't want to be against y'all, so I'm going to join with y'all. And that's how it happened. All of them, half of them joined with them because they was afraid of the Jews. The Jews had just that much power. You know, just like we take this thing back to way back in the days when times of slavery. Y'all understand how much power the slaves had and they didn't even know that they had it? You know, they was running around here being beaten and killed all because master said do this and master said do that. Well, they gonna do it because they don't want to get whooped no more. They're gonna do it because they don't want to be sold someplace else because they don't know what to expect over there. But they had all the power that they needed while they was in bondage. It wasn't until after they gotten out of bondage and this one little thing that was given to them was freedom. When they got that freedom, now they want to walk around and say, you can't touch me because I got freedom. Touch me if you want to. I'm going to kill you. You already had that power. You just didn't have that word behind that power that said freedom. Just like these here. So on that 13th day, they got that decree. They went out there and they fought and they killed all these people because the king approved it. The king authorized it. And the king just asked, says, how many people was killed today? They said, about 500 people. Said, okay. And Queen Esther went back to him and said, if it pleases my king, would you mind if we go back out there this next day and do the same thing again? He says, look, y'all got the power. Write it down. Write it up, seal it with my ring, and you good to go. Because I can't take back what was already put into play. So that next day, the 14th day, they went back out there and did the same thing, killed 300 more people. And in total, like I said, they done killed 70,000 people. So, all together, they done went out there and they done saved their whole life. So, this is a day of celebration to them now. They're celebrating this day of Purim, which Purim is the plot. You know, because he plotted against them. And it means to cast lots. So, because he plotted against them, they call this day the day of Purim. And every year, on the 14th day, every year, they celebrate this. Because this is the day that they were saved. This is the day that their life was given back to them. Because on this particular day, all of them were supposed to have been killed. So on this day, God gave them the right to defend themselves to save their lives. So they celebrate this day every year. Just like we celebrate a certain day every year. 4th of July, we celebrate every year. Am I right? Every year. We celebrate that every year. But guess what? Guess what the devil done threw up in the middle? The devil says, 4th of July is not y'all day. It's Juneteenth. Juneteenth is y'all day. 4th of July is their day. Y'all don't need to celebrate this day. Well, we take communion on the first Sunday. Now that's just us. We do it on the first Sunday. Some churches do it some other Sunday. But we do it on the first Sunday. And Jesus didn't do it on the days that we do it. Am I correct? It is in remembrance of, right? So on the 4th of July, we're just supposed to remember the things that it is about, which it is about our freedom. So Juneteenth, it is what it is. To my recollection, that just came to us a couple of years ago. That's to my recollection. Now I do know that there is some writings that says on this particular day, this is the day that y'all were supposed to be free. But, they decided to let y'all go on July the 14th. But that is the day that we started celebrating. And we celebrated in remembrance of where we do not want to go back to.
Amen.
That's what that is. So while the devil done threw all this other stuff out there, now we're fussing and fighting all over again. And what's that word? I'm not going to start calling a lot of names out there, but it's this thing that's going on. We're going to make this world great again. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're going back to fussing with each other, fighting with each other, all because we can't agree on a day, a certain day now. All because this day is the white man's day. This day is the black man's day. Well, who put color on anything? Us. We did. We was the one that divided people. We separated people. We started calling people this and people that. That wasn't but one race, and that was God's race. All man was created equal until we started thinking of how different we are. Look at them over there with their chocolate skin. Look at them over there with their yellow skin, their light skin. We started putting differences on people. Now, the one thing in this lesson here that Esther proved to anybody was in order to do anything, you got to put God in it first. That's why she told them to go back and fast for 3 days. She says, look, we got to be on the same page. So we're going to go back and we're going to fast and we're going to put our mind on God, because we got to move with God. So if we can't move with God, ain't nothing going to happen. Because whenever you put God in the mix, things happens. The devil can't even come in the middle when you put God in the mix, because the devil want to stay as far back as possible. Y'all know how the devil works. The devil works from a distance. The devil be way across town and got chaos started right here. The devil says, look, this is what y'all want, so I'm going to give it to you. But before I give it to you, I'm going to make y'all fight about it. There is $100 bill sitting down there on the floor. How many people going to run and get it? That's how the devil operates. Yeah. The devil just drop it in the middle of everybody and say, there you go. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. Now everybody is fussing over this $100 bill, and by the time anybody get a piece of it, everybody got a corner. You have your corner, they have your corner, but you all broke because now that $100 bill don't mean nothing. That's how the devil operates. He give everybody that one thing that everybody wants, and it can't do nobody no good but him, because now he done caused chaos. And God says love, and y'all see that y'all done broke that love covenant, because now y'all fussing and fighting, and the devil is happy. He ain't nowhere around you, but he happy because he done caused chaos. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar, a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another. See, this was them celebrating. They turned that 14th day into their celebration day. And what they does is they go out there, they have a party, they feast all day long, and on that next day they wake up, about like Christmas. They wake up and everybody gets a gift. Everybody gets a gift. Look, I love you, I love you, I love you, everybody. And the poor, from what I've been read, the poor get special gifts. They say, I'm going to give the poor these gifts too. Everybody gets awarded something on this day, because it's a day of remembrance to them, of a place that they don't want to go back to, because they remembered being hated. They remembered nobody liking them. So how do you repay back somebody that can't stand you? You go back to them and you say, I love you. That's how you pay that. They don't like you. That don't mean you don't have to like them. Because God says, hate no one. And if you hate one person, then you hate God. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month of Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and a month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning until a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto the Jews. Now, Mordecai. What did I say Mordecai actually achieved at the end of this? Mordecai became the prime minister. Mordecai took Haman's position. And I done told y'all that Haman got that position based on the help of Mordecai. Your worst enemy is that one person that you felt like you could trust. Now, Mordecai helped the king because the king was about to get killed by his own people. Now, his own people, that's like the two trusted advisors that he got sitting right there supporting his gate, allowing good or evil to come through these gates. These are his trusted. So the king is supposed to be comfortable, because he should know that there's no danger in these gates, because he had two trusted people watching the gates. Not to know that the ones that is threatening his lives are the two that's watching the gates. Now, Mordecai saw that. Mordecai relayed the word and says, look here, king, these two guys, they trying to kill you. King saw that, boom. Now guess who gets promoted? Haman. Haman gets promoted. But Haman couldn't just take that promotion without having his pride. Pride kills us all. Because we want to look a certain way. We want to have a certain position in life that kills us. Because we feel like, well, can't nobody else touch us. I outrank them. I'm over them. I'm more powerful than them. I'm the boss. Well, y'all know I have never seen a business operate with just the boss alone. Because 9 times out of 10, the boss don't even know how to do the job. The only way that the job gonna get done is the people that the boss hired. So if you're trying to be the boss and you're looking down at everybody saying, I'm the boss, you got to do as I say, do as I told. If all these people walk out and leave, you can have this yourself. Guess who about to fall? The boss. So in order for us to make it into this Christian world, we got to work together. We can't put anybody above us. We can't put anybody beneath us, because we're all equal. We may have different titles. Deacon, pastor, bishop, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a title. That's all it is. It's just a title. Because when it comes down to it, I'm still human. You still human. Everybody in here still human. We all going to live just like humans. We all going to make mistakes just like humans. We all going to live just like humans. So in order for us to make it out of this together, we got to work together, believing that we're all human. We're all striving to get to the same place. We're all working to get to the same place. We're all supposed to be listening to God. We're all supposed to be living for God. We're all supposed to be doing the things that God asks us to do. But we can't do that because this little damper that has done been placed out here into this world, which is called the devil. Well, let me just go ahead and say that. It's called the devil. So the devil goes head on out there, and the devil puts certain things out there in play, because the devil, he don't want to be alone. He already know what his destiny is. The devil don't want to be there by himself, because he already know at the end of time, he's going to burn forever. He knows that. So he's trying to pull as many people as he can to go back there with him so that he can have some enjoyment over there. So what the devil says is, you know what? Y'all better stop listening to this God thing. Now look. Go out there, look. I guarantee you'll find some way that says God ain't real. You'll find something that says God you shouldn't listen to. You'll find something out there that says none of that is right. Look, you can live the life that you want to live, and you ain't even got to go through that Bible. You ain't even got to live by that Bible. But you can live the life that you want to live. You can get the things that you want. You can have the cars that you want. You can have the houses that you want. You can have all the money that you want. And you don't even have to go through the Bible. Shortcuts is not always a good thing. Let me put it to you like that. Look, it takes a lot to achieve a good accomplishment. And it takes a lot of sacrifices to make it to that accomplishment. So if you're planning on getting from A to Z without going through any of those other alphabet, you ain't gonna make it. You're just gonna do, I'm not gonna say it, but what them two letters, if you put them together, would say. But that's all you'll get. Look, if you're planning on missing something, if you take a shortcut, let me tell you what you done missed. Everything that's on the outskirts. You done missed out on all the conversations that y'all can have. Look at this beautiful place over here. Look at all the mountains over there. Look at these families over here having a good time. Y'all see all the watermelons and the sunflower seeds and all these things going on out here. You will miss all of that because you decided to take a shortcut. Because you got there quickly. And getting there quickly, you done missed everything. I'm done with my lesson. I'm going to turn this over into the hands of the superintendent.
Thanks, y'all.